we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have inappropriate behaviors.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
And short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force.
Call Allah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Akakwadash. This is Malak Magani from GMS Toronto 144, GMS Toronto 2, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right? I want to say also double honors to the apostles of great millstone and to the men and women who cry inside, the prophets, for the abominations that are being done within and without. Once more again, as you can clearly see here, this is a very powerful video, right? You folks, let's start with the Lord's elect. We don't really care for the goyams, because as one of these guys, their spokesperson, was told to say that, you goyams are hackable. Well, we're going to look at the word behavior. I mean, these guys say they keep it very simple, what they say, and they're not hiding these so-called elites, these so-called merchants, that you can see here. And they have a script, and they go by that script. Okay? I'm going to go to my first scripture, and then I'm going to get into it real quick. Daniel 7:25, right? Because simply put, let's get there. Daniel 7:25, right? Things have changed, times and laws. Okay, you pull it up here. Okay, I thought I had it up on my screen, but I didn't put it up. But I did write it down. So bear with me. Let me just grab it while you're listening.
Behaviors. At Black we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have inappropriate behaviors.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
And short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. At Black we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior.
Yes, so simply put, man, they're saying a lot of things here, right? And we're going to look at the words, like I said before. Daniel 7:25, and these guys are definitely, they're part of this beast system that I'm going to read here in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, right? I'm going to start at the 23rd verse, just for a little bit of context. The point is really in the 25th verse, all right? And just by, the plastic food, the fake food, all of this stuff, man, in the time of the mark of the beast, man, we're here, and they're gonna mandate more laws because they're on the power of influence from the left side, man. Okay, so they have to fulfill the Lord's will. Revelation 17:17. They must fulfill His will, right? So this beast system that these guys are part of, right? I'm going to start at, you know what? I'm going to save that part. I'm just going to get to the point. It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times, laws, right? Times and laws, daylight saving time, you name it. There's nothing on planet Earth that Edom, the proprietor of the beast system on Earth, right? The beast system constitute NATO and the EU, and there's a woman, okay? There's a whore, like my nephew would say, a whore that rides the beast, wears a red dress. In prophecy, prophetically speaking, okay? And you see that when you go to Revelation 13 and 1. It tells you that there's a woman riding the beast, and that's the whore. So, yeah, these guys are all part of that. But, yeah, let's quickly go into it. So, change times and laws, right? And I gave you some strange example there, but nothing new to us, right? The food, everything is changed up over here. if you're not a person of the Lord, you're going to follow along like these goyim, man. And as this character says,
because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have inappropriate behaviors.
Yeah, they're going to change laws. They're going to make laws, right? Change what was constituted and so forth like that. That's their job. That's what these guys are set up to do, right? But it's for the goyams. Guarantee you. It's not for the Lord's people, but yes, it's going to affect the Lord's people, because I just read it for you here real quick, and it says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. That's who he's really speaking against, right? Right? He has no fear. That's how the Lord made him, to have no fear, so he could be exposed and fulfill his will, fulfill the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? And shall wear out the saints, you see, of the Most High. So somehow we're caught up in between this, right? And think to change times laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a times and a dividing of times. Right? 1619, I can get straight to the point prophetically. 1619 to 1969. Or 1620 to 1970. Right? Do your homework, man, you people out there. See what the prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has been prophesying about. Starting at the Great Millstone with the prophets there. Okay? Starting at the Great Millstone, the apostles and the prophets there, okay? Right? So yes. Right? So just to confirm, I did say I was going to go into 3 words today. They're using the word cause, right? We're going to cause. Well, he didn't say cause. We're going to force habits, and that is to cause, right? But one of the words, as a matter of fact, let me get to that word quickly, okay? Forced, okay? Behavior, force. So he says we're going to force your habit. So let's take a look at it, man. Let's take a look at it. So it says physical strength. All right. If you're used to doing something that pertains physical activity, that might be taken away from you, or it might be made harder to do. Okay. Anyway, force, strength, courage, fortitude, violence, power, compulsion. All right. What else we got here? We get to the meat of it. I don't want to bore you too much. Brave, bold. Right. So it's giving you all the positive attributes. Okay. And these things can be turned against you if you have somebody dictating and making laws to make you uncomfortable or take you out of your comfort zone. Okay, like these guys say that they will do. Okay, or get you to a point where you don't, force you not to worship your Creator, then that becomes a problem. Okay, but anyway, like I said at the beginning, man, this is for you goyams out there. You goyams that will see this video, if the Lord permits you to see it. But definitely I'm speaking mainly to the Lord's elect, comforting them with these words. Okay, so it says meanings, power to convince the mind. You see, that's the most important thing here. Power to convince the mind. So they're going to use sorcery. They're going to use every means to force your habits. You see, and power exerted against will, you see, or consent. So you're going to be forced. That's what force is. All right? Also, a military organization.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
Yeah, we're going to need to change it. We're going to change it. Hey, you goyams, get in line. All right, let's move to the next word. That's enough on that. I wanted to go to the word cause because you just read force. Right, and you're going to see almost it's the same thing. So they use a lot of words that have the same synonyms in them. Okay, and you people are lazy to look up words. Right, I'm talking about you goyams. You're lazy to look up words and understand. It says cause, reason or motive for a decision. Grounds of action. Okay, reason. French cause, reason, lawsuit. right? You come against these guys, get ready to go in court, okay? All right? And stay in there a long time. Case in law, all right? A cause, a reason, interest, judicial process. Get ready for lawsuits, which is of the unknown origin, okay? So that's in there in regard to that word. And now we're going to get to the next word, man.
Short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors.
Yes, so there's the other word, behavior. Just in case you're sleeping on that. It says a manner of behaving, whether good or bad. That's what I said at the outcome of this. They're going to force both sides. Okay, this is how they work. They're not going to give you, these guys are not in there to give you the truth, man. They're going to give you good or bad according to what is laid down as law in this land. Okay, conduct, manners, essentially to behave. So there's a good or bad. Right, but we're told, according to Scripture, the book of 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter, to stay on the narrow. Okay, yeah, you can see what's going on over there in the world on the left and on the right, but we are cautioned to move in the Spirit. We're going to be spiritual with these men. Right, we don't have no, and even if we had weapons, okay. The scriptures doesn't allow us to use them. The only weapons that we have are not carnal, but are mighty through the strongholds. And they're to break down strongholds like what you see here, behaviors, right? So behavior possession. So they're going to be possessed with sorcery. These people are going to possess you with sorcery to get you to do what they want you to do. They promise you.
Black Rock, we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior.
Yeah, with the food, certain foods you eat make you sick, man. You know, I remember many years ago, right? Longer than most of you that will hear this video, if you hear it, has been born, man. I used to eat some strange food. Those sea bugs, didn't know what they were. They just said eat them, and they would cause some strange stuff on your mind. So just imagine. If the Lord didn't take me off of those things when I was a teenager, okay, certain sea bugs I wasn't meant to eat, you go and eat them, and it would cause great stress on the mind, right, and the body, okay, because it was poison, it was toxic, you know what I'm saying? And these people promote all that health, but now it's worse, okay. And they're smart. They mingle it in with food. So yes, they will continue to force your behaviors. Take another listen. Right? Because I got a couple more scriptures.
Because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have the appropriate behavior.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
Short-sighted behaviors that undermine.
Yeah, short-sighted, that's a good word. Let me get that. Let me get that.
Collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black Rock, we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior. Because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have the appropriate behavior.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
Short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black Rock, we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior. Because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have the appropriate behavior.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
Short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black Rock, we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior. Because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have an appropriate behavior.
And we're going to need to change behaviors
and short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have an appropriate behavior.
and we're going to need to change behaviors
and short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black we are forcing behaviors.
Yeah, so that's a beautiful word that that the dude there, the other old man standing up, all right, what he said. So I'm going to go into this word here, short-sighted. It says here the terms myopia and myopic, right? Brackets of a common term, short-sightedness or short-sighted, respectively, have been used metaphorically to refer to a cognitive thinking and decision making. You see, so you don't have the you don't have the what you call it? You don't have the myopic and the myopic. You don't have the ability to make a decision, so they're going to make it for you, right? You short-sighted people, simply put, right? So, yeah, they're covering everything, man. They're not going to miss nothing, right? Like the scripture says in Revelation 13, 13 around the 16th verse. I'll read it for you, but there's lots there. So let me finish the word. It goes on to say, have been metaphorically to refer to a cognitive thinking and decision making that is narrow in scope, you see, or lacking in foresight. You know, that's for you dum-dums out there that walk on your heads. They're going to make a decision for you, right? And by the time they're finished making that decision for you, it's going to be very convenient for you to take that chip in your right hand. You're going to welcome that chip. You're going to welcome it, okay? It says, right, lacking foresight or in concern for a wider interest for a longer term and consequences. So yes. In other words, by the time they're done with you, by forcing your habits, you're going to love the mark of the beast. You're going to love what it represents because you're going to be left behind if you do not take the mark, right? And all the money and little money that you have and going into the new system where they're already predicting to you, they're telling you that money will have no other need, right? But there's a statement that I came across, and this statement was made about 150 years ago. It says, money will soon depreciate and vary very suddenly when the reality of eternal scenes are open up to the senses of man. And let me say this to you, it starts with the prophets, right? Because the prophets were the ones that the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, has given to understand that when this system collapses, all right, and the elites are seeing that money is really useless right now because even though you need to survive, but there will come a time when the system will crash. And of course, these guys that are on here, they're in place right now. And they're getting it ready by telling you this.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have an appropriate behavior.
and we're going to need to change behaviors
and short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black we are forcing behaviors.
Right. So simply put, man, this is the purpose now of the rich men. I'm going to just bring one scripture, and I'm going to go to Micah, right? Because definitely filtering it through, it's twofold because men from Israel has joined with these people here. There's no doubt about it. To oppress their own, no doubt about it, right? And the one that I want, I'm gonna go to Micah to Micah chapter 2, straight to the point. But take another listen.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have an appropriate behavior.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
And short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black reinforcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have an appropriate behavior.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
And short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black reinforcing behaviors.
Straight. Yeah, so let's get to it real quick. So I kept you long enough there listening to these guys. So this is it. Micah 2:1, let's start here. It says, woe, right? Woe means war. War to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds when the morning is light, and they practice it. Okay, and like I said at the beginning of this video, simply put, it's a straightforward disclaimer, right? Good and bad. These are forcing good and bad habits, right? And definitely 2/3 of our people and the ones who are tightly connected to these men, man, there's going to be a war on them, right? And they're going to notice the war only when they're eating, when they're at their best, right? But as we speak, this system is, this system, and when I say this system, I'm talking about America is finished. Okay? It's finished. The whore is just about, the whore is stressed out. Okay, and the beast system, NATO and the EU, is going to play its role. So anyway, let me I digress there. Let me just read the scripture real quick here and get it out of the way. All right, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. Okay, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. I don't know if you guys ever met people who say, man, you say, why did you do such a wicked thing? He says, because I can, right? And those people are very dangerous as well. Okay, but that's the spirit of a wicked person. Right? And this is how it sounds in the NLT. It says, what sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night thinking up evil plans. You rise at dawn and hurry to carry them out simply because you have the power to do so. They never let a good or bad crisis go to waste. You see, verse 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. And let me start by starting with the prophets, okay? So you guys are in the way of the prophets, but not too long, right? Again, I had to bring this precept out because this is not talking about no goyim. Okay, he's talking about you're oppressing the poor. You're starting with the prophets. Yes, you're oppressing Israel as well, man, and the rest of the elect, and also 2/3, but 2/3 has joined with them. Simply put, and 2/3 cannot come over. Pursuing to the chapter Zechariah 13, you can read from the verses 7, 8, and 9. Okay, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. So yes. All right. So anyway, just want to share those verses with you. And my next verse is I'm going to go to that's the scripture I wanted to give you on oppression, right? In regards to oppressing the poor, the elect. But I'm going to finish off a strong precept here in the Wisdom of Solomon, the 12th chapter. But take another listen.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have an appropriate behavior.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
And short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. Black reinforcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly reporting everything that's going on.
Penalize, fine people who don't have an appropriate behavior.
And we're going to need to change behaviors
Short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
You have to force behaviors. At Black Rock, we are forcing behaviors.
Yes, I'm going to shut it down here. I'm going to give you these 2 precepts in the time of the mark of the beast system. And this is Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 23. It says, wherefore, whereas men have lived dissolutely and unrighteously, that thou hast tormented them with their own abominations. Okay, so I already gave you the scripture, right, in regards to what's coming for those guys who are going to force their habits. I'm talking about you goyams, man. And the elect, I just read that scripture in Micah, is caught up in the middle. And you know what the scripture says about touching the Lord's anointed. So you guys have to pay for that. Okay? We're going to get out of the way, but you're going to find the Lord's going to remove us out of the way. Right? And he has us hidden anyway, his hidden ones. And, you know, he's going to glorify his word by way of his hidden ones. And you're going to see the judgment of that. So simply put, man, your own abominations, right? Detestable things that you do is going to fall back on you, right? Because you never let a good or bad crisis go to waste. You have a God complex. All right? Verse 24, final verse. It says, for they went astray very far in the ways of error and have held them for gods, you see? So, which even among the beasts of their enemies were despised, being deceived as children of no understanding. So yes, but make no mistake, right? Like I've been saying it all along. 2/3 of our people are joined to these guys here, and that's who I'm really speaking to. I don't care about Larry Fink. He has a work to do. He's really diligent about what he's doing, and the rest of these guys on this panel. But like I said, they're out there to get the goyams, man, get them out of the way, right? And the Lord, the King's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So yes. I'm going to read it again, 23rd verse. Wherefore, whereas men have lived dissolutely and unrighteously, thou hast tormented them with their own abominations. That's coming, right? And there's nukes coming, World War III, etc., right? And slavery. Okay, slavery is coming. Psalms 2, right? Psalms 2, he's going to rule them with a rod of iron, right? Why do the heathens rage? You see? And imagine vain things. So yes, their imaginations, what they from up here, okay? Right? Their imaginations, man, is going to get them. So anyway, I've said too much here, right? Over and over. But with that, I'm going to say Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and to the men and women who cry and sigh for the abominations that are being done within and without. And with that, I'm going to say about the ball. Shalom.